Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here. Welcome back to The Fragrance Well. You see the thumbnail, you see the title. This one is as straightforward as it gets. First of all, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. And that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. Father's Day fragrances. Fragrances that I myself might potentially gift to my father or who I would think of as a father figure. Let me just put this disclaimer out there right now. If you are actually thinking of gifting your father a fragrance, consider what he A, already has, or B, if he has kind of hinted at you that he might like something. I don't think it's a good idea to gift your father, or anybody for that matter, a random fragrance, because if they're not fragrance junkies like we are, they're probably not gonna wear it or even appreciate it. For example, I gifted my father last year for his birthday, Masculine Pluriel by Mason Francis Kirkjohn. Why did I gift that to him? Because he told me he liked it. He went to a Neiman's, I think, with my mother on a trip they were at, somewhere last year, and he just happened to share that he really liked that particular fragrance. And I thought to myself, great, that is a gift I'm gonna give him as long as he doesn't get it before I give it to him for his birthday. And I gifted it to him, and he was very appreciative of it because I already knew he was gonna like it. I didn't just blind buy something for him. So keep that in mind. But I've got 8 fragrances here that I think would make great Father's Day fragrances if my father wanted a particular fragrance or if they were just fragrance junkies themselves. I tailored most of the choices towards fragrances I would actually give my father, and I'm gonna give reasons why, and then the rest of them are just, I think, good overall general gifts you can gift your father or really any man as a fragrance gift. So let's go ahead and get it started. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, first one's coming from the House of Creed. This is Green Irish Tweed. Creed Green Irish Tweed. Now, ironically, my dad actually gifted me this bottle because he actually gifted me a bunch of bottles that he just wasn't wearing. I've told that story before. But the fact of the matter is, let's say your father either did not ever get a bottle of Green Irish Tweed or anything like that, which if your father was into fragrances, there's a good chance he might, depending on what his age is, there's a good chance he might have, known or had Green Irish Tweed at one point. But let's just say he didn't. Fact of the matter is, when we say this fragrance is timeless, we mean it. It is a timeless scent. I smell it now. Honestly, it doesn't smell dated. It can work for any man 30 and up as far as I'm concerned, and really even guys younger with the alternatives that you have to Green Irish Tweed, like Cool Water and some of the other clones that maybe give it a more youthful feel. They can work for them too. So the scent DNA can work for anyone. It's fresh. It's clean, it's a little bit soapy, has a little bit of a lemony vibe, fresh aromatic, clean, kind of fresh laundry vibe, a little bit of a grassy feel to it. The fragrance is truly timeless. I think that this scent DNA in all of its forms could make a great gift for any man, in my opinion. It certainly could work for Father's Day as well. Once again, from the House of Creed, this is Green Irish Tweed. All right, next one's coming from the House of Le Labo. This is Tabac 28. Le Labo, Tabac 28. Now, first and foremost, I consider this a fragrance I would gift a father if he were at least somewhat into fragrances, because this is a very particular scent. This is not something that would appeal to the masses, so to speak. But there's also another stipulation I'd put on this. If my father smoked cigars and liked to enjoy alcohol while smoking a cigar, a nice glass of scotch, maybe some rum, some whiskey, things like that, which my father does like to do, that's when I would consider gifting him this fragrance, because as far as I'm concerned, that's the entire mood of this fragrance. It's boozy with rum accords. It's like tobacco soaked in rum. It's a little bit smoky. There's some exotic woods in there, a little bit of oud adding to that smokiness. There's some gaiac wood adding to that smokiness. There's a touch of cardamom giving it a spicy element. To me, this is a man who is accomplished, enjoying a fine cigar with some high-end top shelf liquor to accompany it. Wouldn't necessarily call this the best option because it is very particular, but there's a chance that your father might enjoy something like this if he enjoys that type of activity. Once again, from the House of Le Labo, this is Tabac 28. All right, next one's coming from the House of Arabian Oud. This is Blue Oud. Arabian Oud, Blue Oud. Now, let's just be clear. This is not a universal pick for Father's Day, in my opinion. 2 reasons I'm putting this on. Number 1, your father maybe is into fragrances or maybe is familiar with oud I think this is a great gift in that regard. Or number two, maybe your father has just gotten his nose on this out of your own collection if you happen to have it, and he liked it himself. That's actually the case with me. My dad actually likes this scent DNA. He's actually worn the raw oil more so than the fragrance because I've brought it with me a couple of times when I've visited him or just been around family, and he actually really likes that raw oil. So the raw oil version of this, he is a fan of. So if I gifted it to him, he would wear it. So Arabian oud, blue oud, two types of oud, Cambodian oud and Indian oud if I am not mistaken. The note breakdown on this is crazy because you are getting all the facets of both of those ouds together, and at times it has somewhat citric elements, at times it has woody elements, at times it has slightly smoky, sometimes it's a little bit sweet, it's resinous. It's just this dance of these two types of oud mixing with this blue musk accord that is in the fragrance. So it is very hard to describe, but it is truly a luxurious and exotic wearing experience. Once again, from the house of Arabian oud, I can't talk today, this is blue oud. All right, next one's coming from the house of Amouage, and this is Portrayal Man. Amouage Portrayal Man. So there's a very specific reason I put this one on this list. Good stuff, at least it is to me. The reason is, if your father by chance was or is a fan of Dior's Fahrenheit and that DNA, there's a good chance he may like this, especially if he still wears Fahrenheit. Now, this is not as complex as Fahrenheit is, doesn't really have the spicy element. It's more about violet leaf in particular, mixing with a lot of juniper and vetiver, cade oil feel to it. It's almost a simplified version of some of the more core notes to what makes Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit doesn't really necessarily have that petrol feel. It's overall not quite as leathery as Fahrenheit is, but it does definitely remind you of that scent DNA. So if your father's a fan of that DNA, he may like this. Once again, from the house of Amouage, this is Portrayal Man. Next one's coming from the house of Marc-Antoine Barras, and this is gonna be Ganymede. Marc-Antoine Barras, Ganymede. Now, when I say Ganymede, I pretty much mean all the iterations of it. So also Bois Imperial from Essential Parfums, which is kind of the cheaper alternative to this, both perfumed by Quentin Biche. That works as well. If there's some other iterations of the Ganymede DNA, I think all of them can work personally. Because this scent DNA, in my opinion, can pretty much work for anything. Great thing about this is something new compared to the older styles of fragrances. This is something new and unique. Ganymede in particular, maybe the more leathery of the styles, a lot of saffron in this, mixing with that mineralic, fresh, clean, watery, woody feel that this fragrance has. To compare it to Bois Imperial, that's a little bit more woody overall, a little bit cleaner, not really having that leathery aspect, that suede leather aspect that Ganymede does have. And honestly, that may be the better option because it is a little bit simplified and not quite as dense, and it's also a cheaper option. So, it's kind of hard to argue against that if, the budget is a thing to consider. But I think the Ganymede DNA overall would make a great Father's Day gift. Once again, from the house of Marc-Antoine Barras, we have got Ganymede. Next up, from the house of Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is Morning Chess. Wilhelm Parfumerie, Morning Chess. Now, this one I can't really tie to my father at all. I don't even know if he would like this. I just think this is a good, solid scent that you can gift to any man 30 and up, really. And that's not to say that that's the only age range that can wear this fragrance, but that's kind of where I would place it, mainly because similar to Aventus in the bergamot, juicy bergamot that is in this fragrance, but everything else is pretty different. You have this galbanum, this bitter green, earthy feel mixing with some Tuscan leather, so it's leathery green at the same time with that juicy bergamot on the top, and on the bottom it's overall just kind of a woody base. There's an accord of black amber, which I guess the best way to think about that is it's a very dark and heavy amber accord, really not sweet at all. This is another scent that can work for anything, smells amazing. Maybe I chose this one because if I were getting gifted a scent for a Father's Day gift, this may be one I would like. That's kind of the reason I chose it. But other than that, it's just a really good, solid fragrance that you can use for anything. Smells awesome. Once again, from the house of Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is Morning Chess. Next one's coming from the house of Savoir Faire. This is Soul Cafe. Savoir Faire, Soul Cafe. So this would make a great gift option if you want to get your dad something that most people just simply are not going to smell like. Within the community, certain sector of the community, should I say, people know about this fragrance. They know how awesome it is. You got this kind of orange juice smell off the top, and then this combination of rich woods and musk, a very nice coffee accord in here as well. It's just a luxurious smelling, but also chill fragrance, if that makes sense. I often slightly compare it to Parfums de Marly's Halton. It kind of has some of that feel in it, therefore a little bit of a feel of Oud for Greatness. I know not everybody really agrees with me on that, but that's just kind of how I experience it. But again, I'm not saying it smells exactly like it. It doesn't. There's definitely way too many aspects that separate it. It's just a smidge of that in there. But this fragrance here, I think would make an awesome Father's Day gift. Now, granted, you might want, I wouldn't say it's the safest buy, because again, if your father's not really into fragrances, may not necessarily really appreciate something like this. It's not hard to wear, but if your father's not really into fragrances like that, but does wear them, you kind of have to know what they typically like, and this might not fit into that mold, but let's just say you want to get him something different anyway. This would be a good one to get, in my opinion. Once again, from the house of Savoir Faire, this is Soul Cafe. All right, and last but not least, coming from the house of Roja Parfums, we've got Danger Parfum pour Homme. Roja Parfums, Danger Parfum pour Homme. All right, so this one here, first of all, I absolutely love this stuff. And the reason I think this one in particular is not really talked about as much in terms of these Roja Parfum pour Homme fragrances is because this one may be seen as a little bit too particular, too situational. It does kind of have this dressed up feel to it, kind of this dressed up man, more formal occasion feel to it. It's lemon, lavender, a couple of other aromatics, and a myriad of spices and dried woods, kind of this spicy woody accord, as I like to call it, because nothing really stands out outside of the lemon and the lavender that I get from it. And it smells very gentlemanly, but it does feel like you kind of have to dress this one up. I don't really see this fragrance as casual, even though you can wear it. So let's just say your father is someone who is dressed up more often than not, has to dress up for whatever he does on a daily basis. This may be a good scent for him because it does smell luxurious and it does have some sex appeal to it as well. Once again, from the house of Roja Parfums, this is Danger Parfum pour Homme. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Once again, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. Let me know down in the comments below if you wanted to gift your father a fragrance, what might be a fragrance that you would get him, or if you are a father yourself and you want someone to gift you a fragrance, what do you want them to get you? Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.